For those of you that watched the last Ultimate Vehicle Toolkit video, you'll remember we went to Harbor Freight last and we got everything in this bag. Now to see everything in full depth, you really need to go back and watch the last video. But let me just tell you, for those of you that didn't watch, the amount of stuff that we got was absolutely insane. And we kept it to a budget of only $250. I've got to be honest with you guys. I don't know if you can beat what we got for $250. Now this all started because I wanted to get a toolkit to keep in the Bronco Raptor. But I realized even the tools I have in the Rubicon 392 may not accomplish the job as easily as the tools we got from Harbor Freight. Now the original toolkit that I was comparing against or trying to beat for price was the Boxo toolkit. It was an outrageous price for a pretty decent set, but we absolutely destroyed the price with the Harbor Freight kit. Now today, instead of comparing directly to the Boxo toolkit, we're going to be comparing to the Harbor Freight toolkit that we put together, and we're going to try our absolute best to beat it. Harbor Freight's prices are super hard to beat, so the only place I can even think of that may come close is going to be Northern Tool. So that's where we're going to go today. Now that is the same Harbor Freight we went to last time, and Northern Tool is literally right there at the end. Now for those of you that don't know, they are official dealers of Milwaukee, so they got all kinds of Milwaukee stuff, all kinds of DeWalt stuff, and then I guess Clutch is maybe their own brand. It's like the cheaper line of stuff here. So let's see if we can find their really cheap stuff and go to that section. Now for today, I'm going to be using the same list I used to get all the Harbor Freight stuff. So we'll go through the list and see if we can get every single thing for the same price, and we'll also be keeping track of it on here. Now to start off, this is basically the same set that we got from Harbor Freight, same price for a 6-piece combination plier set, but they also have this set with a few more items like a vice grip and then a small crescent wrench and some smaller tools too. So for now, let's start off with the $29 set because it's got almost everything we need, and we'll just need a bigger crescent to go with it. And then we've got this set right here, a $12 hex key set, standard and metric. And then like the last set, we just got 2 screwdrivers. We got a Phillips and we got a flathead. These are a little smaller than what I prefer, but for the price they're pretty hard to beat. So we'll get 2 of these and they're $2 each, so it'll be $4. So I found a similar 1/2-inch drive set right here. It's $34 for this. Last time I did get both sets, but it's pretty redundant because it's a lot of the same sizes. For now, we're gonna get this one for sure, $34.99. Then for this, for a standard combination wrench set, this is standard, same set as we got last time. They were $7 at Harbor Freight. These are $9.99. Then since we are in the Jeep, we definitely need to get an 18mm. It didn't come with the set there, but that's something that we're definitely gonna need for a Jeep. And then we got some work gloves. These are reusable ones, the same as we got last time, $149. And for those of you that don't know, just like Harbor Freight, Northern Tool has a section of a bunch of discount stuff here. Same quality of stuff that's usually in the totes or the bins at Harbor Freight, but it does give you some good options for stuff like this. And we'll get another punch because we had one last set that is $4.99. And with that, we are finally over $100. We're at $103.49. And we needed to get a hammer, so this is a 24-ounce dead blow for $12.99. This one will actually be perfect. It's $22.99 for this combination set. And for this one, it's got 19 on that side, 20 on the other side, so on and so forth. So knocks out a lot of the sizes that we need. We need to get a utility knife again, $2.99 for this. And then of course, you've got to have some sort of a flashlight. This one's $4.99 for this pocket light right here. It does come with the batteries. Now we do need to get a breaker bar. So this breaker bar, 1/2-inch, 18-inch long, $24.99. And now with that added to it, we are at $172.49 for our total right now. And then for the extension that we need, I can't really find it. These are all wobble extensions, so I'll keep looking. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this one in there, $14 for a 10-inch, 1/2-inch drive, and it is a wobble extension. Then we also need to get some wire strippers. These are the cheapest option I can find for $9.99. And then we do need another crescent wrench, but it seems like for $10.99, that's a better price than just getting the singles over there. So we'll just go ahead and get this set. And they do have a great selection of Milwaukee stuff for basically everything that we need, but it's just out of the price range for the budget we're trying to stick to today. And then we do need to get a impact rated socket set, and this one's 11-piece right here for $29.99. And then for the toolbox here, we've got a $12.99 waterproof plastic molded toolbox right here. This should work for what we need it for. It should be just the right size. And just like that, we're already at $250. So I'm putting back a $22, $23 item. That way I can get some other stuff and change it out. And we're gonna do this 22-inch flat pry bar because we need a pry bar. This one is $7.79. And I'm also putting this punch back because I really don't have a use for it, and I've got so many of them now. But that is supposed to be in the kit. But since we're on a budget constraint, I'm cutting it out. Now with the extra money in the budget, I'm gonna come back and instead of getting a 3/8" drive, I think I might as well get a 1/4" set. Well, this 10-inch impact rated extension is $24. The other one we had was $10, I believe. So I'm putting this one back. It was $14.99 since we got the other impact rated extension. And based off my calculations right now, we should be at $256. So let's go check out, make sure our math is right, and then we'll compare it against the Harbor Freight kit that we put together. Well, we've got it all, and now we can load it up and take it back to the house, lay it all out, and see what we really got for $250. Now that we've made it back from Northern Tool, let's go ahead and open up some of this stuff and see what the initial quality is like, and also see everything laid out together to really take inventory of what we've got. Now, one of the very first things that we picked up was this 10-piece plier set. Now, a lot of the tools that we found today were iron ton, so I don't really have any experience with that brand. I'm sure it's around the same level of quality as the Pittsburgh tools. Now, one thing that did push me over the edge towards this 10-piece set versus the 6-piece set for $10 less was not only the extra pieces, but also the little stand that it comes with. So with this stand, you can basically just sit it there and you've got your pliers right where you need them. I know that's not really going to benefit us for what we're going to use them for in our toolkit, but the stand itself is pretty neat, so we got to give it some credit for that. They do feel cheap, but for what we're going to use it for, it's going to work. Now keep in mind, we're using the same idea behind the last video for this one. These aren't tools we're going to use every single day, but these are great tools to keep in your vehicle to use anytime. A lot of times in off-road situations, whenever I do need to pull the tools out, it's just for a quick fix, or if it is for something major, it's a one-time deal. Well, for the plier set, I'm gonna give these a pass. It seems like a decent set for what it is. I mean, for 29 bucks to come with 10, it's pretty hard to beat. Now up next, something basic that we got at the very end was an $8 pry bar. So you always wanna have a pry bar. This isn't perfect for what we're gonna be using it for on vehicles, but this pry bar will definitely come in handy in a situation where you actually need it. I couldn't find any traditional pry bars that I would prefer for under $10, so this was the only option in the entire store for under $10 for a decent pry bar. Up next, I got a clutch dead blow hammer. Now what I noticed is just like how Pittsburgh and Icon, they all have lifetime warranties, a lot of the clutch stuff does have the lifetime warranty with it, so this is one of the products that does. It's just a 24-ounce dead blow hammer, but it's got a really good handle on it, so I like that about it. And then we got the brass tip on this side. I believe this was $12, but for the price, it seems pretty decent. After that, we got a 22-piece half-inch ratchet with sockets. Now with this, I don't know what kind of quality this is gonna be, so I really wanted to feel this ratchet. I mean, there's definitely a lot of slop in the gearing there, but not any more than the Pittsburgh set that we got. And whereas the Pittsburgh set was only $29, I believe, for a set very similar to this, it did not come with a little extension. So you can almost justify the difference in price, the $3 or so for this little extension here. Now with this set, we've got standard and we've got metric. We've got a lot of different socket sizes here. So we've got 10 through 15, then we've got 17, we've got 19, 22, and 24. So a pretty inclusive set for what it is. After that, we got a set of screwdrivers, just a Phillips head and a flathead. I like to keep it really basic with screwdrivers because out on the trail or just fixing something normal, typically you don't need something crazy for these inside of a car. So both of these were, I believe, $2 a piece, so $4 total. Same brand, Ironton. If I'm saying that wrong, let me know, but for the price, they seem pretty decent. After that, we did get a ball-end hex key set. Now this hex key set is standard and metric, $12 for all of them. It's a pretty decent price. So with these, it's got a nice little fold over holder. It's gonna keep both of them together. This is a decent little set, so I think this is one of the best buys of the entire haul. $12 for both is a pretty decent price. Up next, I did buy a separate 18mm socket because a lot of this kit is gonna go into the Jeep. So we've got to have an 18mm for it. and it was, I believe, $4, maybe $5. Again, with the clutch stuff, most of it is lifetime warranty. Then up next, we got a 3-pack of the crescent wrenches here. Got most of the sizes that you need, and this was only $10 for all 3. Couldn't find any crescent wrenches by themselves that were at least 8-inch or bigger that were under $10 or at $10. So this seemed to be the best set, especially since that one already came with a little one. So I was really just going to buy a 10 or a 12, but I couldn't find it for any better price, so we got 3. So for all 3 of these at $10, that's a great deal to me. I don't think you can beat it, and they seem pretty decent, just like everything else so far. It seems decent. It's not great, it's not horrible, just decent. After that, we got a utility knife here, the cheapest one I could find. Just a basic little utility knife with the snap-off blade, so if you need another sharp blade, you just break it off and you're good to go. I think this was right at $2. After that, it's super important for me to have some wire cutters, really some wire strippers, and this is the best use for these. So for $10 for this decent tool, I was happy to get it. Unlike a lot of the other pliers from this brand, this one has a really good feel to it. It's got a bunch of great capabilities for wire stripping, basically anything to do with wiring, but that grip and the way that it works just feels so much better. This is a pretty decent tool, and I don't have one exactly like this in any of my other sets. After that, we got a clutch 1/2-inch, 18-inch breaker bar, and I think it was $24. These were held up by zip ties in the store, so I'm not sure what was going on with them, but they do have a lifetime guarantee, so I'd be interested to see how the return process goes for them. But the head on it seems pretty tight, so that's a good sign, at least in initial quality. After that, we got a combo wrench set. So this is a 9-piece set that goes from 10 to 18, and it covers all of them. It doesn't skip. So this is a decent little set. For $9, I think that that's a pretty good deal. Now up next, I wanted to get a impact rated socket set. I think that these are great to have in any of your vehicles, because more times than not, if I am going to do something a little bit more risky, then I'm going to take an impact with me. So it's nice to have the impacts there to get whatever job you need done. So with this set, it's got 10 to 14 with no skips, and then it's got 16, 17, 19, 21, 22, and 24. So I think for most of the Toyota guys, this would be a perfect set. You wouldn't need anything more. But for the Jeep guys, you will need a couple extra impact sockets to go with all this. But this set for $29 is pretty good. To go along with that, one of the big spins is the clutch 10-inch extension for your 1/2-inch drive. Now this was a big expense at that store. I couldn't find any of the sets like I got at Harbor Freight. It was $10 for like 3 different lengths, including a 10-inch, a 4-inch, and maybe a 3-inch, something like that. But the only other option for this, for a 10-inch, was not impact rated, and it was a wobble extension, and it was $14. So for about a $10 difference, it's worth it to have this 10-inch extension, especially for the size wheels that are on my Jeep. You need to have an extension like this to be able to take off even your lug nuts. Then we got some reusable gloves right here. I believe they were $2.99 or $3 right at it. And for these, they seem decent. Not quite as good as the Harbor Freight ones, but still decent, and they're a lot better than having to put on black disposable gloves. I would much rather have these reusables for sure. Coming up towards the end here, we've got a 1/4-inch drive set. So this comes with standard and metric sockets. I ended up skipping 3/8 because 3/8 was still $29 there, and to fit in the budget, I had to come up with something a little bit more creative. We didn't have a 1/4-inch socket set in the other one. We had 3/8. With all these combined, I'll have the ability to take off any bolt, so no issues with that. And this is nice to be able to do the smaller stuff. Now this is a 72 tooth ratchet as well, and it feels perfectly fine for a 1/4-inch ratchet. I do like the grips on these. The grips on both of these are pretty nice, and I do like that they also come with little extensions. So coming with those extensions is pretty handy in this little set. It has pretty much all the socket sizes that you need. Of course, it has all these standard on this side, and then it even has 4 through 13 millimeter on this side with no skips. Now, one of the last things we added was this flashlight. With the other kit, I wanted to get a few extra things, and I did. One of those things is a flashlight. I think that's an absolute necessity with any toolkit that you have, because if you're out in the middle of the night, something breaks, usually it is at night, you've got to be able to see it. So you've got to have some form of light that's not your cell phone, because there's nothing more annoying than trying to use your phone as an actual flashlight whenever you're working on a car. And for this little lot, I definitely think it's overpriced, but I do like how it's just a simple on and off. And then it's got this adjustable clip on the back, so I do like being able to put them in my shirt or something. But I think this was $4 or $5, and I think that's definitely overpriced for this. Now last but certainly not least, we've got a toolbox. Now, I am a big tool bag guy, that's what I prefer, but they had such a slim selection of actual tool bags that were anywhere close to our price range that it wasn't even funny. But they had a large range of these plastic molded ones. So I went with a plastic molded one. I literally don't even think I have another plastic molded one except for, you know, stuff that comes with like little tool sets or something. Just to be transparent, the main reason I don't like these, especially for the vehicle toolkits, is because they're a lot louder. A tool bag can be virtually silent, whereas you're never going to get these to really be super quiet. You're always going to hear the tools moving around in them. But this was only $14. It's got quite a bit of functions as well, if I can figure it out. We've got a tray on the top up here, which is kind of cool and could come in handy. This one is supposed to be waterproof. I don't see any gaskets or seals in here, so I don't know how much I would trust that, but it does say that it's waterproof. We've got a cheap little tray right here. I don't think that this could be waterproof. I think that's false advertisement. Let me make sure I got the one that said it is. Yeah, it says weatherproof. Okay, weatherproof, which is like if the dew sets, it won't get on it, but not great. But for $12 or $14, however much I spent, not bad. I mean, it's a box. All this stuff added up together was a sales subtotal of $264, then our tax of $25, taking us to $289.86. Kind of crazy for what we got. Just to go back over everything that we got, I wanted you to see it all laid out. We've got our impact rated sockets, we've got our impact rated 10-inch extension, our reusable gloves, combination wrench set, specialty pliers, crescent wrenches, utility blade, our breaker bar, our quarter wrench drive set. We've got a small flashlight, our hex key set. We've got our 1/2-inch drive set, 2 screwdrivers, a dead blow hammer. We've got our pry bar, and then we've got our plier set right there. And last but not least, our toolbox. But for $268, I don't think this was a bad buy. All this stuff together is going to be super usable in pretty much any situation where you'll need it, and it's great to have all these tools with you. But I just don't know how good of a value it is. So now let's lay out everything that we got from Harbor Freight and compare it right next to each other. Now this is everything that I got from Harbor Freight. Up there is the stuff that we just got from Northern Tool, but on this mat right here is what we got from Harbor Freight. And to be honest with you, this isn't even everything that we got. I got another lot. I got a 10-pack of the black tape, a few of the extra plier sets and wrenches that we got, I put into other kits because we just had so many extras. So just to show you, we got zip ties, we've got gloves, headlamp, we've got an impact rated extension set, we've got black tape, we got different hammers, hex keys, screwdrivers, a breaker bar, we've got different crescent wrenches, vice grips, socket adapters, we got a tire repair kit, a valve stem kit, valve stem cores, we got a specific pry bar, impact rated sockets. We've got a 3/8-inch drive and a 1/2-inch drive set with a much bigger 1/2-inch drive ratchet itself. We got all these same combo wrenches that we just got, and then a wide range of different pliers and even 10 snips. And on top of all that, we got a 14 tool roll-up bag, and then we even got this awesome tool bag to go with it, with plenty of extra storage and ways to organize everything. So to be honest with you guys, the tool set that I got from Harbor Freight blows Northern Tool out of the water. It's not even like a comparison, even down to the quality of a lot of the tools compared to Northern Tool stuff. You can see their little section right there versus all this. It is absolutely insane to see the difference. And I believe I actually spent less at Harbor Freight all in. And just looking at the receipts, you can tell we got more from Harbor Freight. But right here, $289 total, and we only paid $273 total. Now, there's no rewards program or anything like that from Northern Tool that competes with the members program with Harbor Freight. I did save $61 on the purchase, but my sales subtotal was only $251 before taxes, whereas here it's $264. So if nothing else proves to you, I hope this right here with the receipts also showing the tools just shows you how much more you can get from Harbor Freight, even compared to a place like Northern Tool. Well, I believe it is safe to say that Harbor Freight is still the undisputed champ whenever it comes to putting together the ultimate vehicle toolkit for the absolute best price. We still got some really good stuff today, but whenever you compare it to what we got in the previous video, it just doesn't stand up. If you guys have any suggestions for the next store we should try this at, please drop it down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.